I do think there's there's probably going to be a sacrificial lamb, for lack of a better word, just in terms of the defensive staff, because while I think that you have to give this coaching staff, particularly Venables and the rest of the staff, you have to give them a pass for this first year. At the same time, I think where Oklahoma stands defensively right now, it can't go unpunished, so to speak. So I think I would be surprised if Ted Roof is here again next year. It's just I don't have any inside information, um, none of that. But you can't bring in the level of staff that Oklahoma has on the defensive side of the ball, and it's elite, guys. It is a very elite coaching staff on the defensive side. Is it Bama good? No. Is it even Georgia good? No, obviously not. But this is a really, really good defensive staff. When you look at Todd Bates, he's been one of the best defensive line coaches in the country over the last few years at Clemson. Brent Venables comes in as one of the best, if not the best, defensive coordinator in the country. You've got Jay Valai that coached in the NFL, coached at Alabama last year. You've got Brandon Hall that has been successful where he's been. You've got Miguel Chavis that was at Clemson, but was ready, for this on the field role this year. So you've got guys that are really, really good coaches, and they didn't just forget how to coach just because they came to Oklahoma. So I think there is a very significant and very clear deficiency in talent across the board. I think it's very evident on the defensive line. And I think it was maybe fool's gold for some of us, thinking that just one offseason in Schmidt's program was going to make these guys different, right? I mean, we can tell that the bodies are a little bit different than they have been in the past, but I think at the same time, you've got you've got guys that you need to get into a you got guys that you need to get into a different consistent body type. And then I think a big part of this is mentality. You got if you're Oklahoma, you have to have a much or the coaching staff, you have to drill into these you got to drill into these kids of the mentality that they have. There's you see quitting, not necessarily by the entire team, but and not necessarily at all times, but you see at times where the effort is not necessarily what it needs to be. I can think of two touchdown runs. The last one that ended up being the clincher for Baylor was way too easy. Off tackle play that the kid never even got touched. There was another play in the first half where I think it was a short 2 or 3 yard touchdown run, and the guy didn't even get touched. I think when you go situations like that, Baylor doesn't have that much better players than Oklahoma. They're really good on the offensive line. Don't get me wrong, but their players aren't that much better than what players Oklahoma has to not have a guy even be touched when he's running 9, 10 yards. So those are things that are concerning for me. Um, Not football, but basketball. As I'm a high school basketball coach, those are the things that would be very, very concerning to me to see some level of quit that's happening.